I'd like to call the meeting to order. This will be a meeting of the Murray Municipal Building Authority. I'll be conducting, Dave Naponski, and we'll call the meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. May I have a motion for the October 15th minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll now move to the public hearing portion of our meeting. Let me begin by reading the text to you regarding what we're going to be hearing tonight. This is a public hearing to allow public input regarding A, the issuance and sale of not more than 37 million aggregate principal amount of lease revenue, Series 2020 bonds, and B, any potential economic impact of the project described herein to be financed with the proceeds of the Series 2020 bonds issued under the Act may have on the private sector and related matters. Brenda Moore will be presenting.
I'm going to start before we do the public hearing to just give everybody who haven't seen at previous meetings that we're discussing this a little background of what we're doing and why. So let's start with why a new city safety building. We've been talking about, or I have talked to people who've been talking about a new city hall for 20 years. In the last 8.5 years, we've been talking the whole time about getting a new city hall. There are many reasons for this. I sent a note to the police chief and to our maintenance supervisor, and these are some of the reasons that he came up with on why, within about 5 minutes, we needed a new city hall, and this is not an all-inclusive list. The current setup of the police department affects and limits at times and hinders efficiency on how they serve the public. Staff is sharing desks and cubicles. Outgrown evidence storage areas. We have a law that dictates what we have to retain and for how long. The crime lab is too small to obtain updated equipment to run up-to-date evidence procedures. There's limited areas to speak with citizens in private. The building roof leaks and has damaged equipment and offices on a regular basis. They are on the second floor.
Brenda, step up to the mic.
Okay, sorry. The comments from building maintenance were the steam pipes for the boiler are starting to fail and leak. Water lines are starting to fail and rupture, causing flood damage. The roof needs to be replaced, causing damage to equipment. Currently, IT has a tarp over its servers. They are in the new section of the building because that roof is failing. New is a relative term. There are cracks in the exterior and in interior due to building settlement and age. Windows leak even after they were fixed. And the building does not meet seismic code and will most likely collapse in an earthquake. Another reason, city services regularly accessed by citizens are in 2 different locations, miles apart, and they're sent different places multiple times a day. Council chambers and conference rooms need more seating capacity. I didn't need to talk to the city attorney, but his space is in 2 separate areas, and they have a clerk that is in what could be called a closet. So those are some of the reasons, and I've just got a couple quick pictures. This was from my office desk before I moved, and I was on the bottom floor. They got that solved after about 6 months. That's a pipe that broke in the basement. I think it's with the boiler. That's the picture of the roof. All of those dark spots are low spots in that roof. And then you can see the air handler is rusting. There's a crack in one of our foundation walls, crack on the outside. That is when the boiler pipe blew. It has since been fixed, but that is just waiting to happen again. And I believe that's an electrical wire. I don't even want to know what that is. So, and it is very corroded. Now you would say, well, can't you just fix all of that? Yes, we could spend millions of dollars fixing those types of things. This problem would still be, there's not enough space. The police department needs more space. And we need to bring a lot of our services under the same roof. So the city has 3 options for when we go to bond. We can do a geo bond, which means that the citizens vote. It does have the lowest interest rate. It increases everyone's property tax for 100% of the bond payment. We could use sales tax revenue bonds. There's no vote. It's a slightly higher interest rate than a geo. It pledges our sales tax revenue, which would tie up the city's bonding capacity and would result in future less flexibility if we want to do other projects within the city. There are lease revenue bonds. No vote, slightly higher interest rate. It's currently 0.85% over a geo bond. Leaves other financing options open for other things, and is perfect for an essential government project. A police, public safety building, and a city hall which is safe and will be available after the earthquake, I think is essential. So, let's see. So we picked, due to various reasons, the lease revenue bond. Mostly because it provides flexibility in the future, and I, being the finance director, do not need 100% of the payment to be made by property tax. So here's a little, sorry, it's probably really small, but here's a comparison of if we did a geo bond and if we do the lease revenue bonds, what we're aiming at. My construction deposit I'm looking at right now, if we can get this underway and not have any more building cost increases, is around $32 million. If I did the lease revenue principal, due to what they call premium, people will pay us extra money for these bonds, is $2.8 million. So our principal will be $2.8 million lower. Lease revenue interest rate is 0.85 higher. The principal and interest payments on the lease revenue will be higher than a geo bond by approximately $11 million, provided we made every payment for the next 30 years. The geo bond requires 100% of the payment will be made by property tax. The lease revenue bonds, I can use any revenue that's coming into the city to pay those bond payments. My hope is, and what the big thing is with the lease revenue bond, is it is very likely to be refinanced. Just like you refinanced your house. When the interest rates were 7%, you said, wow, this is a great interest rate. I'm never going to refinance. They dropped to 3. Wow, this is great. They dropped to 2. You refinance again. Guess what the city will do in the future? As interest rates drop, if they drop, we will refinance to save money. Can't do that with the geo bond. The way they're structured, their interest rate on that coupon is going to be so low, it's not going to happen, and it will probably only save homeowners 50 cents, so why should we bother to spend all that money to save someone very little money? So who has used lease revenue bonds? Murray City used them in 1991 to finance the Murray Library. Murray City in 1997 to finance various city facilities, including refinancing the library from the 1991 bonds and the Murray Parkway bonds from 1990. Murray City in 2001 to finance the Park Center. It was refinanced in 2009. Springville City in 2008 for a city hall. Bluffdale City in 2016 for a city hall. Murray School District in 2014 for their new school district offices. West Valley City in 2018 to finance their new public safety building, which is twice as much, I think, as what we are proposing for our city hall and public service safety building. Alpine School District in 2018 to finance a rebuild of Sierra Park Elementary. So it's not an uncommon thing to use lease revenue bonds. So The bond parameters, this is probably what's got most of you here, is because you heard that we were gonna issue a bond for $37 million. That is the maximum amount under these bond parameters that we can issue. The maximum discount, 2%. We're gonna sell these bonds for a premium, which means we're gonna get $32 million and this is all estimates, by the way, $32 million, and our principal will only be 29. Maximum interest rate, 5.5. We're looking at an effective interest rate of 3.5 right now. Maximum term, 31 years. The designated officers who can work on this are the chairman, the secretary, treasurer, and the finance director, which, so that is my slideshow. Anybody have any questions?
Well, as you said, we've paid off a lot of bonds early. We traditionally pay off bonds early. In the 16 years I've been here, the power department, I believe, currently is debt-free because we paid off bonds early. As we get revenue, it makes sense. So we either refinance them to get a better deal, or ultimately we pay them off. So to see that maximum interest rate, I'd be very surprised to have that happen.
I would be surprised if at the end of 15, 20 years that we haven't got an effective rate that's lower than that. Well, that is if interest rates stay low. Interest rates could change any minute and they could be high, but.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I have a comment, just
Yes.
that I am so excited that we're finally at this point that I'm aware of. It's been 10 years, and we keep thinking we're going to build a new city hall, and it's going to be very soon, and, we get a developer and that falls through, and, it's just been an incredibly frustrating thing for us. I worry if we should have an earthquake, this whole building would come down. The police department, we have so many important things here that it would be devastating to our city, and I really do worry about that. When I ran for office 6 years ago, that was one of my campaign promises, that we would get a new city hall and start developing the downtown. Well, 6 years later, hopefully, this is finally going to happen, and we've worked so hard and so responsibly to make sure that this is what is in the city's best interest. And it's just an extremely important thing and something that Murray City really deserves, and I'm very excited to be a part of it. So thank you for your presentation.
I'd like to just go off what she said about the shape of this building. The most important asset we have in Murray City are our employees. And they're in danger every day in this building, whether it be cold, heat, the earthquake. If we have police stationed here, but we also have employees that are very important to us and to their families. And we have a charge to give them the most safe work environment we possibly can. And this ain't it. This is holding on by a shoestring.
Thank you, Councilman Cox. Any other comments from the council? Okay, hearing none, I'll read the proposed motion, and then we'll go to a public hearing. Should we read the public hearing first, and then we'll read the proposed motion? Okay. At this point, we're going to open the meeting up for public hearing. You are allowed 3 minutes to speak, and we'll have you fill out a form from Patty. She'll have them over here to your left by the door, or Jan up here by the council dais. You can pick up a form from them. So with that, we'll open it to public comment.
Hi, Kathleen Stanford, I'm at 487 East Vine Street. We totally need a new city hall, but what about just using this building? With $15 million, we could restore this historic building. So that's just my comment, is that with our $20 million, we could totally seismically upgrade this building and build a new, and then with the extra $10 million, we could do a new police station, next door in the old school district property. I know that's, we're too far down the path to that, but that's just my dream. Thanks.
I'd like to know why it isn't going on the ballot for the people to vote on. This is the people's money, not just,
Could we get your name, please?
my name is Carol Nichols. Do you want my address? Anyway, that's my question. And I really wonder if we ever pay all the bonds off, or if we just keep adding to them. You know, this is a lot of tax money for us to pay, and we're not going to live long enough to pay it, so it's gonna go on our dependents. And I think that maybe we need to think about that, you guys. It's the people's money, not the city's money. Thank you.
Yes, if you would state your name before you speak, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm talking to everybody, not you individually.
Thank you.
Is that it?
I'm Brad Barnett. Some of you may know that. Hey, you guys. Mayor, thank you. Because what Brenda did is what the citizens are looking for. Did you see how everybody suddenly, to me, I said, oh, I see. And that's what's so great. I should mention Brenda. I know this is embarrassing to Brenda, but she's a Provo Bulldog. So one Provo Bulldog in this room was made good, right there. Hey, so thank you so much. I think that's so important to just lay that out for the citizens. And we have a number of citizens here that are saying, oh, now I start understanding. Because the city has worked so hard on this, and we really appreciate all the work you've done. I told the mayor today, because I've given him a lot of headaches. I'm like a problem child. And he's been really good to understand me and the concerns that I brought to him about our citizens. Because I think our citizens want to be involved. They want, of course, to vote on this, and we have to discuss that bond and so forth. They want to have a vote. They want to have a say. They want to have input. And my academic background is in business consulting, where we study how a design gets built and how it's improved by a variety of inputs. So I'm just really happy. I told the mayor that I would make sure everyone knows, if this wasn't clear from all our flyers, that I want a new city hall. I want a city hall that's fantastic, that we are so proud of, that just sits there, and when people say, they say, hey man, Murray's better than all those other dinky little towns out there like South Jordan, West Jordan, We were the first town here, and we ought to be telling them. My grandmother grew up here, and my grandparents lived here, my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandfather was the mayor. This is a great town, and I hope we'll keep working to involve the citizens. I think the city council wants to. It's not always an easy thing. I appreciate you guys so much. And I want you to know that I'm all for the city hall, and I'm going to be advocating as you give me direction. Thank you.
Kim Anderson. I guess the one question I had, maybe I didn't understand the presentation from the finance director. is what is the additional cost per typical household going to be per year?
This does not add anything to the property tax. That was the point of doing a municipal building authority bond, lease revenue bond. If we did a general obligation bond, it could be,
About what it went up last year.
yeah, I was gonna say, it would be roughly what we did when we did our property tax increase. So,
All right. Other than, I think it's in the wrong location where it's being proposed. I think on State Street or right here where this building is, much better locations. You could tear this down, move into shop, go down the street for a while. I think that having the building on State Street where it becomes a focal point, I don't think it's going to bring much, I don't think it's going to add that much to where the location is going to go. I just think you want the presence, you want to be seen. I'm an architect by profession, and you know, I can't think of any other city building that's set back off of the main road. You know, the city office building, West Valley City's on Constitution Avenue, South Jordan and West Jordan are both on Redwood Road. I just think the wrong location. Anyway, thank you very much.
anyone else?
Does that conclude our public hearing? I'd be surprised if it does.
It appears to.
Well, no one else? Okay, the chair would entertain a motion at this time.
But before we do that, Mr. Chair, to answer the question, why not here? We looked at that, we agonized over, we owned the property, it made sense. We could have built behind us easily and lived in here. We used this figure when we had to raise property taxes. 35% of Murray's is non-taxable property. It's owned by nonprofits, or it's parkland or school district land. It's owned by UTA. And that causes us some heartburn, when you have that much of your land mass taken up that you don't get tax revenue on. This property on State Street, almost directly across from Intermountain Medical Center, has far more value to the city going back on the tax rolls than does the ground that we're going to build on off of 48 South. And so if we can sell this for a good return on our investment, that helps us offset the cost of building City Hall too. And that was ultimately the reasoning behind that decision. Get some business on this ground that's on the tax rolls.
Before we do that, I just want to make a comment too, that we are pretty darn lucky here in Murray. I mean, to have a group of citizens come, really, and even 2 years ago when we did the tax hike, there were people that were upset, but when they found out that we were doing it for first responders so we could take care of them, I mean, they were awesome, and you've been awesome tonight too. We're really blessed to have citizens like you. Thank you.
I too am very impressed, and I appreciate the attendance here tonight.
Definitely.
It's wonderful.
So, Mr. Chair, if there aren't any other comments, I would make a motion that we adopt a resolution acknowledging the holding of a public hearing to receive public input with respect to A, the issuance of the Series 220 bonds, and B, any potential economic impact that the project described herein to be financed with proceeds of the Series 2020 bonds may have on the private sector.
I'll second.
Motion and seconded. Jennifer?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. That brings us to New business, the election of trustees and officers for calendar year 2020. We have some nominations.
Yeah, before we do that, I had the question, why are we doing this when you and I are going off the council and we'll have two new people? And it was pointed out to me that you are the chair and I am the vice chair of the Municipal Building Authority, and when we're gone, we can't hold a meeting. So we can hold the meeting and we can do the elections, and then when we're gone, y'all can fix that.
I had that same question, you answered it, thank you.
Yeah.
So you tell me you don't want to elect
I do.
officers.
No,
I'm saying I do because
He doesn't, but he does, have to.
we have to.
Okay, but we have a motion for vice chair.
You doing vice chair first?
Yeah. You can do president first. I think I get the sense people would like to do president first. Let's have a motion for the president of the Municipal Building Authority.
I'll move that we, I haven't talked to you, so I don't know if you're gonna say yes or no, but move Dale Cox to the chair of, look at him.
He got to the microphone before.
That's why I did that.
And it's been moved that we now elect Councilman Cox. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. Now we'll vote on the vice chair. Take a nomination.
I'll nominate Council Member Brett Hales.
I didn't like that.
Okay. Been motioned, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we now have a new chair and a vice chair for the Municipal Building Authority. We have a line item here to adopt the Municipal Building Authority meeting schedule. Oh, okay. Well, that's gonna be a no-brainer.
I didn't like that,
I'll
Diane.
nominate Diane to be secretary treasurer.
Diane's been nominated for secretary treasurer.
That's a no-brainer.
All those
Why
in
do I
favor?
feel
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, you want us to adopt the Municipal Building Authority meeting schedule, Jan?
Nominated trustees.
We have no one left.
Well, no, they're all. You may be an officer, but well,
You have number 2 is consider adoption of the meeting schedule.
Yeah, we don't have
You have number 3 is adoption of the trustees. Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll make that motion that the council serve as the trustees of the Municipal Building Authority.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilman Hales. Appreciate that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now should we do the Building Authority meeting schedule? Okay. Take a motion for adoption.
So moved.
Need a second on that? I'll second if you
Yeah,
need.
okay, move in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll stand adjourned and we'll start our city council meeting now.
We're gonna take a quick 5-minute break in
Okay.
case anybody needs one, and then we'll get started really. Go through this. Is Savannah here? I just, so many people, I haven't kept track. Okay, got it.
No, I'm not from,
I graduated 2001. I think 80. Not that A bulldog. And he worked down a hill, and if you did a run of his house, they painted it green. It used to be green, how the windows are now. So we were testing.
And they enclosed it. Did you enclose it? No. They
So I'm just at the, but you're mine. So my whole life, we're riding.
which they closed down. Yes. And it's got sold and
Okay, so that field.
You're gonna be.
That is behind me.
Let me tell you, Do you know who calls all the time? It's the two-story. On the floor, right at the bottom of the street.
I'm getting motion back. Still a little tight, but I'm working on it.
Somewhere. It's an upper building. Stops at the bottom of the street. It's on the north side of the street. It's a two-story white stone.
We have satisfied what we needed to do. No, I don't. I mean, I'm not saying you might not have to figure that out. Increases along the way. Big tax.
But Jim's still there. I'm gonna do it with me. I won't let him.
3 to 5%. I may not be doing it.
Oh, yeah, this is right.
Increases in the
Only once in a you do fund it. Oh, right. Yeah. No, we're missing it. No, I just brand new. I've only been on for a couple months. And then just, oh, I'm there now. They're going to make some moves. They're going to do some things that haven't been done before.
the state allows us to.
Yeah, I know. So that's why you play on.
They may be doing it anyways. I know. He's not,
He hasn't been very long.
and if you have questions,
When we were planning to buy the site,
and so you've been here about a year. When I sent my email, you have my email, there's a
Dale?
Fire station, and so the city will be between the fire station and the here's the question, is it to stimulate development?
Okay, we're gonna get started again.
And say, oh,
All right. Everybody's getting seated. Everybody is here.
Welcome to the Murray City Municipal Council meeting for Tuesday, November 12th. If you've just come in, or even if you haven't, if you've got cell phones and they're not turned off, please turn them off. If your phone rings, we have to finance it to help pay for the building. Anyway, first item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked newly elected our council member-elect, Kat Martinez, to lead from District 1 to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that brings us to approval of minutes. We've got two sets of minutes, one from the council meeting for October 1st, 2019, and the other for the October 15th council meeting.
Do you want to take them together?
Yep, that'll work for me.
All right, I'll move approval for council meeting minutes for October 1st and October 15th, 2019.
All second.
Okay, we have motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. That brings us to special recognition. First one is Miss Murray for 2019, Savannah Angle, to give her wrap-up report. Savannah, welcome. And Mayor Camp.
I can just take a minute to introduce, first of all, we started last year bringing the outgoing, can I tell you outgoing?
Yeah.
Miss Murray in for a wrap-up report. I think that was went over very well, so very happy to have Savannah come back. I just want to make a comment that Savannah has been outstanding. Ambassador to Murray City, and so she's going to, I mean, she's been everywhere.
I try.
And she has, she's been just wonderful, and so she's going to take a few minutes and give you a wrap up and show you what she has done, and then I'd like to take just a second for a presentation.
Thanks so much. I think outgoing is better than old, so I'll take it.
Crash this. Oh.
So, my name's Savannah. I'm the outgoing Miss Murray. A little bit about me. So, I see so many familiar faces in this room, and it just makes me so happy. Murray has made me the person that I am. I grew up dancing at 3 years old in Murray. I'm a Murray High graduate, and I got my very first teaching job in Murray. I'm a middle school teacher. And so Murray just holds this very special place in my heart, and I'm so grateful that Murray City supports the Miss America organization here and has gifted me this wonderful opportunity. So my social impact initiative this past year was Arts in Education. And being a dance educator myself, this is something that I just love so deeply. And I did tons of different things. We don't have all night, so I can't talk about everything, but I just loved this initiative. But something that I learned is that it wasn't about this, actually. So being Miss Murray wasn't about me. It wasn't about my agenda. It wasn't about arts and education. It was about the people in Murray. It was about serving you all and helping you with what you wanted, with your hopes, with your dreams, with your different things. And this is what I learned. Miss Murray taught me a few lessons, and I'm going to just share 3 short lessons that I learned. The first one comes from lots of DARE graduations. I was at all the DARE graduations with mayor and school superintendents and everybody, and I was able to meet a little boy at this DARE graduation that later on at the Shop with a Cop event, I was able to shop with him. I recognized him from the DARE graduation, and I was like, oh my goodness, my little buddy. So we were able to Christmas shop with him and his brother, and that was just such an emotional and a moving experience for me. I had to take a step away at the Goodwill and just soak in that moment and realize how truly blessed I am. This taught me that Miss Murray is a friend, especially to those who need one the most. And I just can't believe that I got to be that girl in that crown for those boys that day. The next lesson I learned was from a Longview Elementary assembly that I put on. The title was Be Ready for School, for Life, for Everything Else. So we talked about all the sorts of things that you had to do to be ready. And I shared some very genuine stories and talked about how personally I am always late to everything. And they just thought that was so funny that Miss Murray would be running for the train and running with toast in her mouth and running all these different places. And I think it's important for them to realize that Miss Murray is human. Miss Murray is genuine. And this experience definitely taught me that she is supposed to be relatable to all. I remember one certain little boy, we talked about how there are a lot of different people in the world that always have to be ready, like Superman. Superman rips off his shirt and he is always ready to serve the people. And this little boy came and tugged on my dress at the end and said, Miss Murray, I know who else is always ready. And I said, okay, who? And he said, soldiers. Soldiers are always ready. They're always ready to go. And I just had to hold back the tears. And he said, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a soldier. And this little third grade boy just moved me and made me realize that I was a girl in a crown talking about Superman, and yet somehow I was able to relate to this little third grader who had a dream to be a soldier. Last lesson I learned was from dance parties I put on at Parkside Elementary. This was probably one of the most fun things I did throughout my year. I am a dancer, I'm a dance teacher, and so being able to teach half of the school one day and the other half of the school the next was so exciting, and it was just organized chaos, and they all had the time of their lives. And this taught me that Miss Murray, being Miss Murray, was an absolute dream. At the end, I had this little girl come up to me and she hugs my knees and she goes, Miss Murray, I just want to thank you so much for coming today. She's like, I always wanted to take dance. And today you let me. And as someone that is such a advocate for arts in schools, this was kind of the crowning moment for me, that I was able to go, if I did nothing else, I made this little girl's dream come true for one day. And that was just so magical to me. And she said, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. I want to be Miss Murray, I want to be a dancer, and I want to wear a crown. And so this taught me that it's okay to dream big. And who else to do that better than an elementary school girl? I was so excited to come tonight because I'm like, oh, I get to be Miss Murray again. This is so exciting. But I just want to thank the city and all of you. I've run with your children and your grandparents and everywhere else my year of service, and it truly has meant the world to me. So thank you so much.
Well, Savannah, thank you again. And I have a personal connection with Savannah. She danced with one of my daughters, and of course, her mother taught my daughters to dance. So I've known her for a long time, but she's been truly amazing. You've been awesome. So I want to present to you, this Mayor's Award of Excellence for you to remind you of your to remind you when your thumb hurts of your service as Miss Murray. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
May I ask, do you have your family here, Savannah?
My mom is back here.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
You're a big supporter of this, so you'll owe you a hand also.
That's right. It was the best year ever. It really was the best year. So fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to the introduction of Miss Murray 2020, Sarah Nelson. And again, Mayor Camp.
Thank you. I was pleased to be at the scholarship competition. Notice I didn't call it pageant, Ms. Lloyd. At the scholarship competition on September 21st, where Sarah Nelson won, and from what I could see, the judges were spot on. So I'm proud to introduce, please introduce to you tonight, Sarah Nelson. Sarah, I hope you read her bio. And she is the daughter of Russell and Janelle Nelson, and you recognize Janelle. She's a member of our Shade Tree Commission. So we've already got an in for the Christmas tree lighting, right? I know that Sarah has big shoes to fill, and I know that she's up to it, and I think she will be great. So with that, I'll just introduce Sarah, if you want to come up and just take over.
It's so great to be here with all of you tonight. Like Mayor said, my name is Sarah Nelson, and I am so excited to be able to serve Murray this year. As you saw, Savannah was an incredible ambassador for Murray this year, and just from my interactions with her throughout this whole process, and even going to high school with her, she's just always been someone that is always happy, and everybody loves to be around her, and I'm so grateful for her influence and for the example that she set for me. I'm so excited to continue on with my year and follow her footsteps. So just a little couple things about me. So I am a senior at Brigham Young University studying in their accounting program, and I will graduate in April this upcoming year. And after I graduate, I will work for a couple years, and then I hope to return to school to receive an MBA. Through my business studies, I found that I have a really strong passion for entrepreneurship, and I already have a small business that I run, so it's something that I absolutely love. I am a classical pianist. I started taking lessons when I was 8, and that was the talent that I competed with in Miss Murray, and that I would take to Miss Utah. And I love doing the outdoors, and I love going to concerts and anything beautiful. So that's a picture of me at Moab this past weekend with my friends, and then at BYU with my family. One of the things that I love about the Miss America program is that we get to be so closely involved in the community with an initiative that is really dear to us, and we get to pick out of anything what we want to do. And this year, my social impact initiative is called Girls Let STEM Blossom Your Future. And this is something that I want to focus on exciting, energizing, and starting a conversation with girls about the opportunities in STEM pathways. And right now, Utah has one of the most rapidly growing tech sectors in the entire nation. So out of all the states, Utah is growing the most. I think we can all see that as we drive past the Corn Mountain with all the big headquarters and buildings being built. But I felt so inspired that this was what I wanted to focus on this year and take advantage of the exciting opportunities ahead. So why Girls in STEM? Out of all the things that I could do, this is actually a little excerpt from my Murray Journal interview that I did. I said I found so much joy in receiving a higher education in a technical STEM-related field. It is empowering to be a woman in such a field. It's an exciting time for women to be more involved in the cutting-edge innovations of the future. And this is the excitement that I want to bring for these young girls, to help them understand that they can do anything that they can put their mind to, and that they can be the women of the forefront of the future. And I have found it so empowering that when people look at me and say, "Do you really want to study accounting? Are you sure?" that I can reply and say yes, that it's something that I really like. And it's exciting to be a woman in a field like that. There's so much opportunity for influence, and I hope to inspire other girls to do the same. So these are some of my handles if you'd like to connect with me. But I'm so excited for this year ahead, and I'm very excited. I'm proud to wear the name of Murray across my chest. It's so fun to go to events and be able to represent Murray, and I hope you know that I already love the city, and I know that that love will only grow as the year goes on. Thank you.
Just one more thing, Sarah. I forgot to give you one of our Murray pins so that you can have that. So I'll wear that to your events throughout the year. So we're very excited to have it.
Did you want to introduce your mom? Make her stand up, maybe give a speech? Sorry, Janelle.
It's like they're twins, I'm not kidding you.
No, that's true. That's true.
You know, Mr. Chairman, it just reinforces me so much when we have these Miss Murrays come before us and just how outstanding they are as young people, and it just really makes me feel good. So
Yeah,
I just want them to know that. We're very proud of you.
we are.
We are.
Thank you, and you don't have to stay.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome to. But thanks. All right, that brings us to citizen comments. If you'd like to speak to council on any issue other than the public hearing that's coming up, please come to the microphone, state your name, city of residence. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. And also, anything you comment on, because of the way the Open and Public Meetings Act is, we can't enter in, we can't comment on it because it's not an agenda item. But we can assure you that we have listened to you and we will take it under advisement, do what needs to be done. Would anybody care to comment?
Hi, Kim Anderson, 1144 Chevy Chase, Salt Lake City, Utah, even though I live in Murray, it's a Salt Lake City address. Just a couple things, because you didn't have any comments on, unable to take comments on what was presented on the NCCD earlier. Just a couple things I'd like to talk about are, one, the process. Very little time was taken, is public input, very little time is given for public input on that change. When it originally came in a bunch of years ago, there were a whole bunch of meetings. A lot of input was able to be given. And in this case, we had the the planning commission meeting, and then the meeting that will be next week, and it's a major change. Just a couple things to think about, or things I brought up before. One is, the location of the building. Two is, we know what the mayor thinks about the city, about downtown, because he wrote about it in the Murray Journal. If he is the only one that is able to review and comment on what buildings can or cannot be stayed as historic, then we're limited to one person. I'm sure he would have the input with his planners and staff, but I just think that we need to look at those things, and hopefully before the next meeting we really take into consideration those items that were brought up in the Planning Commission, because I think those were all good recommendations to keep the Citizens Review Committee. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward. We have 2 items on our consent agenda. Mayor, if you don't mind, I'm going to read these 2, and then we'll let you introduce them, and we will then act on it. First is consider confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Matt Jacobson to the Arts Advisory Board for a 2-year term to expire January 15th, 2022. And the second is to consider confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Janice Blanchard to the History Advisory Board for a 3-year term to expire August 1st, 2022. Mayor, if you would.
Thank you. Both of these people are here tonight, and Matt, first of all, Matt is going to be a great addition to the board. He is taking the rest of the term that was previously held by Becca Spute, and he is a professional framer and has worked with the Utah Arts Festival for quite some time, and he's going to be very he's going to be a great addition to this. And Matt, would you mind standing and being recognized by the council there? Thank you. And also we have Janice Blanchard, who will fill a full term. It was previously held by Sienna Madsen, whose term has expired. So Janice, would you mind standing as well? And Janice has some very deep roots in this city, and has lived here for a very, very long time. And you may know Mildred Horton. She's Mildred's mother, so. Did I get that wrong? Okay. So anyway, these will be two really good. Oh, somehow, okay. All right. So anyway, with that, I would ask for your.
All right, then, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Can we just say we move the
Move to adopt the consent.
We move to adopt the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Jennifer, if you call the vote, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Welcome. Thank you for your willingness to serve. All right, public hearing. This public hearing is to consider an ordinance amending section 17.92.090, 17.96.090, 17.100.090, and a whole bunch of other 17s that I'm not going to read, of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to accessory structure height in residential zoning districts. Mr. McNulty.
Thank you, Councilmember Brass, and I will go through this, but not quite in detail, as much detail as I did earlier. We're looking at amending our ordinance, basically Title 17, our land use ordinance, to allow accessory structures in residential zones. Now, we currently allow them, but we have some restrictions in place that we would like to change to allow folks to have usable accessory structures. So right now, the existing language reads as such. It talks about height. An accessory building may consist only of one story and may not exceed the lesser of 20 feet or the height of the residential dwelling on the property. Staff is proposing the following language under height. An accessory structure may consist of a one-story building and may not exceed 16 feet to the peak of the roof if the primary residential dwelling is less than 20 feet in height. If the primary residential dwelling is greater than 20 feet in height, an accessory structure is allowed at a height of 20 feet to the peak of roof. We've made some findings in the staff report that talk about this meeting the intent of the land use ordinance, Title 17, meeting the intent of the general plan for residential uses, and allowing Murray City residents to have a usable accessory structure on their lot or in the backyard of their home. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on October 17th of 2019, where they did recommend approval, that the City Council consider approval of this text amendment for land use ordinance revision, and the Planning Commission vote was unanimous. There were 5 in attendance that night. They all voted for the proposed text amendment. And quickly, for those in the audience that are here that may have some interest in this, we have a number of houses in Murray that were built in the 50s and 60s, and they have not much of a roof pitch, and they're not very tall. Newer homes nowadays, you see ramblers exceed 20 feet in height, and 2 stories exceed 30 feet in height. But we have a number of homes that were built about 10 to 12 feet tall, one-story ramblers with basements. This is going to allow folks that live in a home like that with a lower roof to be allowed to build an accessory structure up to 16 feet tall, in the case if they have a home that's only 10 or 12 feet tall, allowing them to have a usable accessory structure in their backyard. Now, if the roof pitch is higher than 20 feet, they can go with our existing standard of 20 feet. But this allows some flexibility and availability for our residents that would like to do an accessory structure. If you take a walk at Home Depot or Lowe's on a Saturday, you'll see the displays. A lot of those are 10, 12, 14 feet tall. They're taller than what the current code would allow, and that's just one that you get there. And if you go to Tough Shed or A Shed, they have a lot of options available for folks that would like a two-car garage or a hobby shop in the backyard, and the roofs vary in height from 12, 14, and 16 feet in height. So we just want our residents to have an opportunity to enjoy their home and stay in Murray and build an accessory structure as needed. And so staff would recommend that the City Council consider approving this text amendment, and I'm here for questions if council members have any.
Any questions for Jim?
No, you explained it at the committee of the whole very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, I've got the one I mentioned earlier, and it applies to all of the sections that are listed in this change. Originally, the ordinance read an accessory structure may only consist of a one-story building, and the change says an accessory structure may consist of a one-story building. That's vague enough that it could allow greater than one story. And so I'd like to have that only restored in every instance in all sections where you made the change, please. If everybody's in agreement.
Sure.
Okay, that's the only thing I have. Anyone else? All right, this is a public hearing. I will open it up for public comment. Same rules apply as in the previous public hearing. If you care to comment, please step to the podium. Give us your name, your city of residence. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Would anybody care to comment on this item? I see none, so seeing none, we'll close the public hearing portion of this and open it up for council discussion, consideration, or a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt an ordinance as amended, amending the sections 17.92090, 17.96.090, 17.100.090, 17.104.090, 17.01.090. I need a drink of water. 17.112.090, 17.116.060, 17.120.060, and 17.124.060, and 17.128.060 of the Murray Municipal Code relating to accessory structure height in residential zoning districts, and to be clear, to amend to Jim's amendment.
I didn't get all that. Would you repeat it? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Jennifer?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, business items. To consider a resolution approving Amendment 1 to the 2004 Interlocal Cooperation Agreement between the city and Salt Lake County regarding the sharing of costs for lifeguards at the Murray High School swimming pool. Except it's now, and that's how it's written, it's in the Murray Park Center swimming pool, right?
That's right.
Okay. So we ought to correct that.
So in 1970, the county, Salt Lake County, cost shared with Murray City the operational costs for swimming pools. So that was 40 years ago. The agreement expired this year. Mayor Wilson of the county, unfortunately, did not want to continue that relationship on. But fortunately, she did allow for a phase out. So the next 3 years, the city will receive a lesser amount each year, $30,000 next year, $20,000 the following year,
10 in 2022, and then the agreement will terminate. So that's what's before you tonight, is this interlocal agreement with Salt Lake County to begin the phase out of the cost sharing of the operation of the swimming pools here in Murray City.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Any questions for Doug?
No, Doug, you weren't here 4 years ago, but, right?
Oh, you still working.
You've been here a long time.
Yeah, no, I wasn't here in Murray City.
What was the whole thing that got that going with the county and us?
Well, so Murray's position with our recreation programs and our facilities is we're very independent, and unlike most communities, we operate and maintain and fund all of our recreation facilities and programs. However, we allow county residents to be able to use those, and most communities in Salt Lake County have swimming pools and recreation centers and parks that are operated and funded by all of the residents in Salt Lake County, just not the city. In Murray City, because of our fierce independence, we have elected to operate and own those ourselves. But we felt like because we allow county residents to use those, that the county, since we're all taxpayers to the county, we ought to get some of that benefit back to us. So that was the negotiation power that we've always used with Salt Lake County, is we're saving you money because you don't have to build a swimming pool in Murray City. Therefore, would you be willing to cost share? And in the past, the county has been willing to do that, but that is changing now.
Does that go back to Bill Dunn? Commissioner Bill Dunn? He used to be Mayor of Murray, too.
Yeah, probably went back before Mayor Dunn, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
I was just wondering, will that then change the fees?
Well, that would be a question, I guess, that you would have to, along with the finance director, would have to make a decision. It would be less money that the city would be receiving, which means that we would have to increase the subsidy of the swimming pool. And of course, the way to reduce subsidy would be to increase fees, but that would be something that would be a policy decision by the city council, working with the finance department as to whether or not you would want to do that.
Okay.
Good question, thanks.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion approving a resolution for the amendments 1 to the 2004 interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and Salt Lake County regarding this sharing of costs for lifeguards at the Murray High School swimming pool.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Jennifer.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, number 2 is consider a resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City Corporation, Utah Department of Transportation, and Murray City School District for pedestrian bridge demolition. Doug.
Yeah, first of all, let me apologize. I believe I mentioned in the previous meeting that this would come back to you in 2 weeks. I neglected to realize that it was also on tonight's agenda, so you're getting it twice. We have a pedestrian bridge that is over State Street between Murray High School and the former site of Hillcrest Junior High School. We were informed by UDOT through their annual bridge inspection process that the bridge was in need of major repairs. So we hired a engineering firm to come in and do a feasibility study on the bridge, and found out that it was in pretty bad shape and that there needs to be an investment of funds in order to make the bridge safe. So there were 3 options that the city could consider. One was to completely replace the bridge That was $2.6 million. We could repair the bridge. It was going to cost a little over $500,000. Or we could demolish the bridge, and that would cost the least $150,000. So we met with UDOT, the Murray School District, and it was determined, and what we're recommending tonight is that we demolish the bridge. There are some people that still use it, but the numbers that use it since Hillcrest Junior High School has moved have gone down substantially. And with the new development occurring on the west side of State Street, we anticipate there will probably be fewer people will use it because it's mostly served as a drop-off for the students at Murray High School. So, that's why we're recommending that we demolish that bridge. We now have 2 traffic-controlled intersections within a short distance of this location that will provide for a safe crossing of students. So what's before you tonight is an interlocal agreement between the city, UDOT, and the Murray School District to provide for the demolition of the bridge. UDOT has agreed to pay half those costs. The city will pay the other 50%. And if approved, we'll get started right away on that project while the bridge is closed. It's currently closed because of the construction occurring on the east side of State Street. And we'd like to get that started as soon as possible.
Again, any questions for Doug?
I have a couple of questions. It's an interlocal agreement with the Murray City School District and Utah Department of Transportation. Why is the school district a part of that interlocal agreement if they haven't committed any funds?
Well, it is on their property, and so we need, first of all, permission from them, and that's included in this agreement to be able to access their property. Secondly, we want to make sure that the community, the organizations that are impacted by this bridge, that being the school district, the city, and UDOT, are all in agreement that it should be demolished. We want to make sure that everybody's buying into that process, and that's why we're also including them in the interlocal agreement.
Okay, great.
And we'll go ahead, Brian, sorry.
I also have concern about it being in disrepair and people are still crossing over using it.
Well, currently the bridge is closed.
Okay.
And so nobody's able to use it. But it's not imminent. In other words, the bridge is not going to fall over this year or even next year. But if it's going to, if we were to renovate it, we would have to start with that process right away. The bridge alone might last a year or two with some investment of a few $100,000, but we just don't see the value of putting that kind of money in at this point.
Okay, but it is closed at this point.
It is closed right now.
That's
yeah.
good to know.
I just want to make a comment that the school district absolutely was in favor of this in our last meeting, so.
Yeah, and they've already signed the agreement. UDOT wanted to sign it last, so after assuming that you'll approve this agreement, we'll send it to UDOT.
And we're going to receive half from the UDOT, 75,000,
Right.
which is great. I mean, that's really good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
If not, I would entertain a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City Corporation, Utah Department of Transportation, and Murray City School District for pedestrian bridge demolition.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Jennifer, if you would, please.
Aye.
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 All right.
Aye. The last business item is to consider a resolution adopting the regular meeting schedule for calendar year 2020, and that's the council's regular meeting schedule. It will be published. Typically, we meet the first and third Tuesdays of the month, and in all months, we're doing that with the exception of August, November and December. December because of the holidays, November because of Election Day, and August, I believe it conflicts with other meetings that we generally attend. So those will be the exceptions. Unless anybody has any other comments or any dates that they'd like to see changed.
Well, I talked to the incoming council, and they'd like to do once a month. I'm just kidding.
I was thinking more like 4 times a month.
Yeah, I should have said 4.
How about twice a week?
Every day.
Every day. Oh, I love that. Oh, she is really.
Be careful what you ask for.
I know.
Because it happens. Okay, if everybody's in agreement, I would entertain a motion to adopt the schedule. Or not.
I'll do it. I'll move to motion that we adopt the resolution for the regular meeting schedule for calendar year 2020.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kind of review would.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that brings us to the mayor's report. Mayor, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to start tonight by talking about recycling. Some of you may have seen the news story that was done on one of the news channels, at least one, I think it was KSL, about recycling, and you may and probably have been getting calls. I know we have. Unfortunately, Transjordan or representatives from Transjordan or the Transjordan board took it upon themselves to release information to the press that, in other words, they decided to speak for Murray City, and it was very premature. And at this point, we have not made any changes. Certainly, we would let you know if and when. What they said? They said that we were only going to be recycling just 3 items: corrugated cardboard, bottles with lids, and
Cans.
yes, cans. Thank you. So we've already been getting calls from people saying, "Come and pick up my can. It's not worth it." And that was just from the news story. We haven't put out anything officially. But the real problem with curbside recycling is the contamination of the loads, and that is what is causing the problems. In other words, it defeats the purpose of recycling whenever anyone contaminates a can with something that's not recyclable or something that's wet. And so what we're doing is we're hauling it to the recycler, and then we're hauling it from there to the landfill. And it's getting extremely expensive, and the materials have to be hauled twice. We are going to be doing an audit next week out of the recycler. When I say we, Russ Cackle and Danny's group are going to be working with the recycler to do this audit. And what that will do is tell us what percentage of materials are being contaminated, so that we can address that. But really, at the end of the day, we have got to do a better job as citizens of the city in recycling. If we want to be serious about having any recycling programs, we have to be better at doing it, because what we're doing is hauling it twice. So having said that, right now, would you get calls, if you could just explain to people that there have been no changes at this point, and we will be getting back to you with further information in the near future. We were informed that our golf course irrigation system was winterized a couple of weeks ago, but now it has been de-winterized because the good weather, the golf course needs the water. So if you get any comments or calls about the city doing watering, yes, we are on the golf course, but we are not anywhere else. So we're told that the golf course needs the water, the rest of the lawns don't. So. Comment on Vine Street. I'm very excited to tell you that Vine Street, the top layer of asphalt is being laid today, tomorrow, and probably the next day. And again, this is between 9th East and 13th East. I say yesterday. It seems like it was yesterday. Anyway, today, tomorrow, and the next day. But anyway, so the paving will be completed this week, and then the concrete work will be done. The rest of the landscaping will be done in the spring. But anyway, I drove it today on the first layer, and they were laying the top layer on the other side, and it's going to be very nice. So we're looking forward to having that done. The Utah Storm Drain Project is nearing completion. Third West is open, and so that is almost done. Finally, I wanted to just mention that the new signal at the intersection of 4800 South and Commerce, those of you that have driven Commerce from southbound or south to northbound, as you come up on that curve, you've noticed that that's a blind intersection, and you really have to be careful there. If you drive it now, you'll find that the new signal puts a light off to the side so that you can actually see ahead of time. So that's just one of the new safety features there. So that will help eliminate that blind curve. So that's a good thing. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions for the mayor?
No? Can I make a statement? Okay. I've just been thinking about yesterday and how grateful that we all are, I know everyone is, for Veterans Day and for all those that have served, and all the women and men that serve us. And locally, our first responders and all those in the country, it was an overwhelming day for me to just think about all the freedoms that we have because of those that serve us. So I want to give a big thanks.
Agreed. Anything else for the mayor? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.